Welcome to the show. Okay, I have to get, you guys are going to love this episode. Okay, first of all, because this is going to challenge you to think in a whole new way, just like it did for me. Now, this is something I've been working on for a little over a year, and it's actually coming from a question that Dean Graziosi posed. And last year, I had the opportunity of being hired by Chris and Lori Harder. They're some friends and mentors of mine. Chris has a really great podcast called The Chris Harder Show. Lori, hers is Earn Your Happy. She's the founder of Glowsy, so check them out if you haven't. And this event that I spoke at for them, I also had the opportunity of sharing the stage with Dean Graziosi. And when he was speaking, he posed this question that challenged me, honestly, in a way that kind of made my brain hurt. And so if you actually want to increase your prices and be asked this question that will challenge you, like it challenged me in a good way, then listen up, okay? And this question that Dean Graziosi posed was, how can you add a zero? Now, let me explain what this is. Okay. So they were like talking about what it looked like to show up bigger, to show up in a way that actually served clients in a bigger way, to dream bigger, all of this really amazing stuff, this, business savvy, all the amazing things that Dean Graziosi does. And he was like, quit messing around and add a zero. How can you add a zero to what it is that you're doing? And for me, this challenged me because sure, I have high ticket programs and mentorship opportunities and accelerators and masterminds that are $10,000 and $25,000. And when he posed this question, it kind of like, first of all, I actually was like, okay, does that mean I have to work harder? But, right, we both know that it's not always about working harder compared to working smarter. So how can we actually work smarter? How can I add a zero? So it actually kind of hurt my brain in a good way that my brain started to try and figure this out. Now, for me, I know beyond a shadow of doubt, and it actually took me a while to get here because first of all, like to be a voice, to actually be at home and excited and love the calling that I have to be a voice, whether that is a speaker, a trainer, a podcast, an author, like to share, like to have the genius inside of me, the concepts and my perspectives and my IP, my intellectual property and the processes and things that how I can communicate to the world and bring things to life in the form of words and my voice and being influential in that way. It took me a while to actually get to this space to be confident in that. I actually used to, like, if you really knew me, you would know that I actually played small. And I was so afraid of ruffling anybody's feathers and offending them with what I would say. I actually would not speak. And if you really knew me, you would know that I grew up in poverty. And I remember seeing my mom sitting on the kitchen floor crying one day, tears rolling down her face, feeling so defeated. I could feel her defeat as her heart broke because all she wanted was one of those little, like back in the day, I was born in the 80s. It's like this little plastic thing that you stick to your kitchen cabinet and you push your towel through it. And she couldn't even afford that because all she had was 87 cents to her name. And so if you really knew me, you would know that my external world was so far disconnected from the call that I had on my life that I knew that I was meant for more. But everything in my external reality told me differently. If you really knew me, you would know that I was criticized for being a leader. If you really knew me, you would know that I was criticized and made fun of and misunderstood for every time I would step out and lead in a much bigger way. If you really knew me, you would know that the friends that I had 10 plus years ago, they actually made fun of me for different things and they would they threw stones at me, would gossip about me, would try and tear me down and keep me safe right where I was and how they knew me to be. So that's where I came from. And so it's taken me a lot of work and a lot of internal work and the dark night of the soul and a lot of understanding who I be, who I am, whose I am, and what I'm called to do to actually be confident and excited and so in alignment with what I'm here for that to be able to live that out. And now to then be asked the question of add a zero, how can you add a zero? It challenged me. And so I got to work on how could I add a zero for me being a voice? How could I add a zero with what it was that I was offering the world or how I was communicating or who I was communicating to? Now, here's the thing. Now, don't get me wrong. I love pretty stages and I love us as women in business and I love the other amazing events like what Chris and Lori did and even what my friend Lindsay Schwartz, Lindsay Marie does now with Powerhouse Women. And I love all these amazing, incredible women that are doing really, really similar things. But here's what I've also learned is that the pretty stages, they don't pay as much, if at all. Okay. And there are so many people clamoring, so many people fighting, so many people pitching to get on those stages that pay little to zero. Do they look pretty? Oh, you bet. Are they like so beautiful and it looks really, really great on social media? Oh, yeah. Now, could you do what I did and create my own stages? And girl, they are pretty. Don't get me wrong. Like we have our conference. It was amazing. And it was oh so beautiful. But the picture is going to look really good. Of course, like go check out my Instagram. You're going to love them. But unless you create your own stages and then have your own, like learn how to sell from the stage and have your own programs and all this different stuff, which is great. Don't get me wrong. I have it. Right. But what I also learned is that I didn't come this far in my journey to also now learn to have to be a event planner and to also learn how to be a decorator and to also learn how to be like the sound girl and to also learn how to be all of the things to all the people and all of that stuff, which is what it typically takes for the pretty stages. Okay. And so I was like, okay, I've been on this road. I'm on this road and don't get me wrong. I love it. I'm not leaving the road, but I remember about a year ago. So shortly after this, after Dean Graziosi posed this question of how can you add a zero? I was sitting there back at home in my living room, and we have this beautiful, gigantic brick fireplace. And we had actually we had just so happened to like burn through our wood or through our logs. And but we actually had a bunch of kindling. And so so I like kept getting up and putting kindling on the fire and kept getting up and putting kindling on the fire. And it would like whoosh, like light up on fire really, really quick. And then it would like kind of fizzle out. And then I have to like get up again and put more kindling on the fire. And I'm putting all these small sticks on the fire. And I'm like, oh, I could really use a big log on the fire. And I like sat there, like kind of annoyed about all this little kindling that I had. And I was like, oh, I actually feel like this is a divine message for me right now. And I'm like going back to this question of how can I add a zero? How can I add a big log to my fire that will actually help sustain things that will actually burn for a lot longer than maybe some low ticket items or the freebie items or the things that I have to like keep stoking the fire on and keep collecting more wood for. So I came back to this question of how can I add a zero? And in only the way that God can do it, I'm not imposing my beliefs on you. For me, it's God, you fill in blank for you. But in only the way that God could, all of a sudden, I had this aha moment of, wait a minute. What if I don't have to necessarily move away from the pretty stages compared to just go to a different forest and bring back the logs from that forest and pair my big log with the little kindling? And so I was like, okay, what's the big log? What's the big log? Where do I add a zero? How do I add a zero? And this is where I kind of went back into my corporate days. Because for you, maybe you don't know, but I actually used to be in corporate and I used to like speak and teach and train and employee onboarding and create programs and work for universities and all this really fun stuff back before I dove into entrepreneurship. And I was like, oh, okay, I've been there before. I know that corporate budgets are really, really big and really, really fun to work with. And so I zhuzhed up my LinkedIn a little bit and I took my experience and my expertise, I packaged it up and started pitching companies and corporate. And what is really fun is I figured out how to add that zero. And I have now had like billion-dollar companies reaching out to me. I have signed on major fintech companies as for me as a corporate speaker, corporate trainer. I have pitched multiple six-figure. Okay, can I just okay, I want you to lean in. And I'm not going to say this because it really bugs me when people talk about numbers and how amazing they are and all their numbers. So, which is why you typically don't hear me talk about numbers. But I want to cast this vision for you of what it looks like to add a zero. Okay. And so I recently pitched a billion-dollar company that reached out to me for a $175,000 contract. And this is where it gets really fun. Okay. And so I actually I text Chris and Lori and I was like, hey, remember when Dean asked everyone, how can you add a zero? And I was like, found it. And he was like, yes, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So I signed on. I actually have signed on a couple clients, which is really, really fun. A couple new corporate clients, and I'm doing some corporate speaking. So you guys, I found the big log. I added a zero. And so my challenge for you is, how can you add a zero? But here's the thing, it might not necessarily be in the same industry that you thought it would be. And what is really, really fun about, for me, going back to corporate in a very part-time consulting capacity, I get to go back into corporate, not as an employee, but as a vendor, as a consultant, as a trainer. I'm still doing and teaching and training exactly what it is my expertise is, what I love, what lights me up, what I can move a room with, but I'm just adding it into corporate speak, and I'm adding it into the corporate language, and I'm adding it into the context of corporate, because corporate budgets are really, really fun. And guess what? When you actually work with, when I go from B2C, so B2C is your business to consumer, compared to B2B. So now my business, my company, my new trademark, Major Impact, is my consulting company. See what I did there? Major, charity majors, Major Impact. I know, it's so fun, right? You can get so fun. But now my company is now doing business with other businesses. And so I'm actually affecting hundreds, if not thousands of people. I'm actually in talks to do some fun licensing for some of my different programs when it comes to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people into a program, instead of trying to sell something, on my own to 50 or to 100. It's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. So this big log, or this add a zero, I'm doing the same thing, but it's in a different industry. Just a quick little invitation here for you to give one of my new favorite products a try. It's called Glossy. And if you know anything about me, that you know that I love to share things that I love. I love to talk about the things that I love that I'm using, whether it's new products, new services, fun books that I'm sharing about. So I'm always on the hunt for new products that help with high performance, that help me not only as a business owner, as a founder, as a speaker, as a podcaster, and even as a mom, feel better, but it's got to be able to fit into my daily routine. And I have found one that is my new obsession. It's called Glossy. It's a skin and a gut daily ritual supplement. It's a skin routine that you can drink. Not only does it taste amazing, like a light, refreshing lemon spa water that I could drink all day, seriously, but it's making me feel so recharged and like I'm feeding my body and skin everything it needs to keep up with me and my goals. It has a clinically studied probiotic in it that survives the trip to your gut so that you know that it's working, along with hyaluronic acid, which is incredible for glowy, hydrated look to your skin. And on top of that, it's loaded with skin-loving ingredients like zinc, magnesium, vitamin C, coconut water powder, minerals, electrolytes, and antioxidants.
It's how I love to actually start my day as well as end my day, because when I wake up in the morning, I actually get the feeling that I feel less bloated, which, hello, is amazing. So for real, this is a game changer, especially if you travel, if you're busy, and if you have to have something that help you support your body while you are going after your big ideas. So if you want glowing skin and a happy gut, go grab your subscription, because it's the best results take 30 to 60 days. You can go to getglossy.com. That's GETGLOCI.com, and use my coupon code CharityMajors for an awesome discount. Now, understand that this product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. But again, that's all the official legal stuff, right? Go to getglossy.com and grab your skin and gut supplement, because great skin starts from within. That's at getglossy, GETGLOCI.com, and use my coupon code CharityMajors. Grab your subscription today. You are going to love it. I have no doubt. Go to getglossy.com and use the coupon code CharityMajors. Now, back to the show.
I had to change a little bit of my languaging. So let me give you an example of this. This is what's really fun too. So in the entrepreneurial world, we call like our online courses and, oh, come take my, my online course. And it's got a PDF and a workbook, a digital workbook that goes with it. In the corporate world, you call it your e-course or your digital learning platform with your digital companion guide. So you zhuzh it up a little bit to speak corporate. You're speaking. So it's almost like I'm speaking the language of corporate so that they understand. Right? If you speak Spanish and they speak French, well, if someone to actually be able to communicate and to reach someone and to have a conversation, you have to be able, someone's got to learn the language. And corporate, they sure as heck aren't going to come learn. My $1 billion company sure as heck isn't going to come learn my cute little entrepreneurial language. So I learned their language. So I kind of like pulled back from my back pocket back in my corporate days. And now I'm doing like culture development and leadership through change and communication skills and all this really, really fun stuff, but taking it into a corporate context at a zero, have multiple proposals out there, have a contract signed already, onboarding clients. And it's so fun. And so now I have this big log. I added a zero. Now, I'm sharing this because this is actually a way for you that I want to challenge you that how can you take what it is that you are doing in your entrepreneurial journey, or maybe in the lessons that you have learned, because there's probably something that you have experience in, but there's also something that you have lessons that you have learned when it has come to your life and your experience. Okay. Did you know that there literally is a woman who she is like deemed herself the happiness expert? She wrote a book and she now gets paid 6 and 7 figures to go speak about being a happiness expert. Because for us as entrepreneurs, we actually forget that it's a regular thing for us to grow, for us to do gratitude, for us to figure out problems and have resiliency and to do all of this stuff. And we forget that back in the corporate world, they don't tend to not do that stuff. And so if you can bring some of your expertise and bring it back into corporate, some of the things that you have learned, like you actually get to go, I'm going back into corporate on my own terms, on my own hours, on my own pay grade. And it's really, really fun because I'm working with leaders of these incredible $1 billion companies. That one of the companies that I work with, they manage trillions of dollars. Like, what an incredible way to affect change at a huge scale. And don't get me wrong, I love stopping for the one. I love the one message that I get from one of you who is hearing something, or you read something in my book and you were like, this changed my life. Don't get me wrong. It's not apples to apples where I'm comparing. It's apples and oranges, and I love both. And it's the little logs and it's the big logs and it's the serving and it's the burning fire that's within me to make a major impact on the world. And so for you, I want to pose the question that Dean Graziosi posed to me and all of the other amazing 7 and 8 figure entrepreneurs that were in the room with Chris and Lori, of how can you add a zero? How can you add a zero? And if this corporate thing intrigues you, then send me a message. I I've been having this conversation behind the scenes and people are like, "Oh my gosh, like how do I do this? Like I've learned so much." And so I am considering, I haven't like actually but I'm considering doing some sort of like a fun mastermind, like a weekend where we actually help you develop your 25K corporate offer or give you some of the different discovery call scripts and pitching scripts and how does this actually work and all of this fun stuff that I dove back into. I haven't, you guys don't even have a sales page. Like if you are interested, send me a message. Maybe we can do a VIP day. I don't know. Like this is even an offer. This isn't even nothing. I'm just like sharing my story and how can I like my heart. I'm a trainer at heart. I'm an equiper at heart. So it's like for me, anything that I learn, you better believe that my very first instinct is who can I share this with? Who can I teach? Who else needs to know this? Who else can get the same results or even better results than what I can? Like that is literally how I am created and designed. So this is where I'm like, I don't even have an offer. Like send me a message. Maybe we can jump on a VIP call or something. Okay. Because I want you to add that zero. I want you to add that big log to your fire. If you don't know how to be able to add a zero or how to be able to create these 6-figure offers or how to actually like sustain, like maybe you just like keep going back to these really cute freebies and you keep going back to these really great little $19 offers or these $100 offers or these $500 offers or whatever these little kindling things are, which are good and needed and necessary, but it can actually lead to burnout. It can lead to these quick, whoom, like flash in the pan in the fireplace, and then you quickly fade back out. And here's the thing, what I've learned is that for you as in business, you need sustainability. You need cash flow to be able to sustain what it is that you're doing. How could a 6-figure, $175,000 contract with corporate, how could you then use that money to fuel back into your small business or to hire an assistant or to hire someone else to do the web thing and the funnel thing and the whatever, all the other things that you are exhausting yourself trying to do to create your $47 offer? Okay. So how can you add a zero? How can you raise your prices? And what I have also learned is it's not about your value, like your personal value. Okay. There is a difference in value of what you bring to the marketplace. You as a human being, you are beyond any dollar amount. You are valued beyond any dollar amount. I am valued beyond any dollar amount as a living, breathing, blood flowing through my veins, human being, divinely created. There is no dollar amount that I can put on the value for my life. There's no dollar amount that you could put for the value of your life. But there is a difference in the value that we bring to the market. And so it's just a matter of taking what it is that your experience, your expertise, that degree that you have that's sitting that's collecting dust, that maybe you could bring it into a corporate setting or into a different industry, package it up in a little bit different way that speaks their language. And now all of a sudden you add a zero. And now all of a sudden you get a big log for your fire that can fuel the dream that's on your heart, that can fuel the message that you're meant to be sharing, that can fuel getting you out in a much bigger way for major impact. All right. It's because of the impact that we know that we're meant to leave. It's because of the lives that we know that we're meant to leave a lasting legacy with. The money will come. So where is it coming from? How can you add a zero? And if you have questions, message me. I'd love to connect. I'm at Charity Majors on Instagram. I just upped my LinkedIn, so even come find me on LinkedIn. All right. That's what I have for you today. I hope it challenges you in a way that it challenged me. And I can't wait to hear how you add a zero. I literally want you to message me and tell me how you were able to add a zero. Send me your offer. Show me what it was that you were able to create from this challenging question. And I can't wait to connect with you. I believe in you. I'm in your corner. Share this out with someone if you were like, oh my gosh, someone else needs to hear this. because there's a lot of opportunity out there. Sometimes it just looks a little bit different than what we thought it could be, or sometimes it looks like going back into a place, but in a different circumstance on our own terms. Okay. So cheers to your success. We'll talk to you next time.
Thank you so much for listening to the show. I hope it brought some value and some fun into your business and life. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, and even share the episode with a fellow business bestie who you know will love it. It helps us continue to attract top-level guests and reach more and more women who are on their journey in business just like you. Remember that when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. Cheers to your success.